How's it going, guys? How's everyone doing? Hope you had a great week so far. Your week is ending, and it was a good week. Sorry, I don't know. I tried this. Yeah, I was just in the room, and I just put the live stream on. Sorry if that's annoying to everyone who jumped in, because I would find that super annoying. So sorry to those who are waiting. I tried to do it to please the other people who miss it all the time. So trying to find a balance here. Next time, maybe I won't wait as long. I'll just get started right away. Anyways, how's it going? I'm just going to do a bit of a catch up here in the chat. But anyone joining in and everyone who's just waiting, thanks so much for waiting, guys. It means a lot. You guys got questions and I got answers. So hopefully I do. And we'll go through all the questions as much as we can. And they can be on anything really. This could be your therapy session, or I'm sure mostly just about Logic and music production, music marketing, this type of thing. So let's do this. Okay. So I'm just gonna catch up, see if I I think there were some questions. And where's everyone tuning in from? You guys, it's midnight where XPath is from. So XPath, if you're still awake, feel free to ask some of your questions. Dreams, how's it going, Dreams? Yeah, Dreams. Okay, so first question, how can I use the right-click tool? So the right-click tool is available. I always have the right-click tool up here. I think it's really valuable because let's just put a region here. I don't know. I prefer to right-click, and I'm all about saving time and productivity, right? The amount of time you have to press command if your scissors tool is here in your command tool. I don't like that as much. I don't know. I personally like the right-click tool. It's much faster for me. So in order to get this right-click tool, and I always have the scissors in the right-click tool. You go to, open up Preferences, Command, Comma. Oh, came down here. And then go to General, Editing. And then you have a right mouse button is assignable to a tool, or you can have it to open the Tools menu, open the Shortcut menu, open Tools and Shortcut menu. So you can program your right mouse button to whatever you want. I have it to the third click tool, and you have this third click tool available in the region editor as well. So in the piano roll, if we draw some notes. I always have it on the velocity tool, so I can go right click and drag to change the velocity. Hope that helped, Dreams. Hey, Brina, XPath, if you're still there, feel free to ask some questions. Thanks for joining in. 68 hours later. Okay, yeah. I don't think it was that long, was it? No FL Studios here. Sorry, guys. Still catching up here. Oh, sorry, Rajul. You broke your MacBook. Weren't you getting a new MacBook last week? You were saying you got a new MacBook? Damn, sorry to hear it broke. Brah. XPath, where are you now? Olivia Rodrigo's new song. No, I have not heard her new song yet. Yeah, Rajul, I totally remember that when you asked that. Okay, hey, Next Octave, how's it going? While streaming live, how do you send audio from Logic to the YouTube stream? Like in OBS, is there an option which lets you send the audio from Logic directly to the stream, or do you use another streaming software? Yeah, OBS is pretty good for that. I use OBS, and the output on Logic is set to my audio interface, and the input on OBS is set to the audio interface. So those just sync up, and like anything I play in Logic here will come through OBS. Like you should hear this piano chord. It's super light, but you should hear that. Oh, you asked whether you should get a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air. You should get a MacBook Pro if you want to do music production. MacBook Airs you can still do music production on, but it's going to be a painful process unless you get a MacBook Air with maybe 32 gigabytes of memory. I don't know if they come that high though. I think they max out at 16, and you could get away with 16 gigabytes of memory. But if you're in it for the long run with music production, go for a MacBook Pro. They are more expensive, but they will like save you the headaches. Hey Sophie, so you have a question about how to make the bass in Logic sound good and not so growly. Oh, okay, yeah, totally. It likely has. Okay, you're using the subby bass. Is it an Alchemy bass? Because we could just go searching for it, and we can actually dive into that. Yeah, let's open up an Alchemy synth and go. Search subby. It's called subby bass. I don't see sub B. Yeah, let me know, Zophie, in the chat, like what kind of bass you're using. If not, otherwise we'll just go with something subby. Actually sounds pretty cool, right? I'm just gonna record that. 1, 2. Okay, so likely it's the actual sound of the bass if it sounds growly, or you can take off you can use the cutoff knob on the bass to take away that like growly high end. It's in the library of the bass folder. Oh, okay. Oh, there you go, subby bass, yeah. Actually, it doesn't sound too growly to me. That's just the sub of it. You can go an octave higher if you want to get rid of the sub. Like this. This sounds super low, right? But the octave up is less subby. So that will help take away the growliness. And then you can open up this slider thingy here. And then you can play with some things I'll show you here. So where's the sometimes playing with the attack of the bass will help take away a bit of the sharpness of the right at the beginning. You can see as if I exaggerate it, this would. With a cutoff here. Cutoff doesn't seem to be working. Okay, let me see here. I'm trying to find exactly how to answer your question appropriately, but yeah, play with the drive. That's going to help the attack. The cutoff is not working. I'm not sure why. Why? And then the other thing you could do is just actually play with the plugins on the sub bass. So here we go. This is what I would do actually at first. Come to the bass amp, turn down the gain or the boost. You can turn this down a bit. And on the sub bass plugin, you can turn down. Actually, don't even know what this plugin is, so I would just play with a bunch of these dials to see what happens. But I've never seen this plugin before. But you can definitely, the gain is where the growliness comes from. So you turn down the gain or the drive, and that's going to help. Okay, just want to pop in and say I appreciate what you do. Oh, thanks very much, Jesse. Appreciate that. Yeah, really appreciate that. Thanks very much for jumping in and saying that. Hope your music production journey is going well, and I'm glad the videos are helping. So that's a really good sign. I'm going to... yeah, sweet. Yeah, try those things, Sophie. What other kind of questions you guys have? Because definitely not a lot of questions right now. So I can just sit here and drink my tea. I could make a beat. But I think like you should ask questions because it's free. And it's fun too, right? But I'm just going to play around with some stuff, and I'll pop into the chat here or there to answer some questions and that kind of thing, but it's just awkward if I'm just like, sitting like this waiting for things. Okay. And I think I'm also like lagged behind. So I'm talking in the future and then you guys hear it like 30 seconds from now. So some kind of synthy thing going. Are you able to mute bands in the EQ SSD? Mute bands. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. In the Logic EQ, I'm not sure. It must be possible. I know in the FabFilter EQs, which is something I'm a bit more familiar with because I use them more regularly, you can do that. So there is an option here. You can choose where you want the EQ to be. So typically, like, you'd have an EQ just up in the middle, like everywhere, stereo, but you can choose to cut that on the left side or cut it on the right side. And then, or mid side. So if you go down here, mid, and then you can go, I cut everything out in this range in the middle, or I cut everything out in this range on the sides. So this can sometimes be good if you have frequencies like that are fighting with the vocal up right at the middle. You can just dip some of them out where those frequencies are. They'll still shine on the sides, but they won't interfere with the vocal. So pitch correction is fairly straightforward. I'll show you how to do it. It's under pitch correction, mono. There's three things you need to know if you're going to use this plugin. The first one is you need to know the scale of your song. So whether that's it's most likely all the time a major song or a natural minor song. So major key or minor. So let's say it's minor key, and then your song is in F sharp minor. That's what you need to do first. Those are the first two steps. And then the third step is to set the response time. The faster response time, the more robotic you're going to sound. And the slower response time, the more natural you're going to sound. So put it on and then find the sweet spot to how you want it to react and how you want it to affect your vocal. Yeah, that's pitch correction. I use pitch correction pretty much on all my, actually on every vocal track. I don't even have a paid auto-tune plugin. I just use pitch correction. I think it does a good enough of a job for me because I don't really like to put a lot of auto-tune on my vocal anyways, but I do like to correct it a bit. So I use pitch correction. Okay, how do you sound guitar or piano? How to sound guitar or piano fulfill, please tell. Shubham, I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe record? How do you record guitar or piano? Let me know. Just maybe ask the question again so I can understand it better. When we write a song first, how can we produce its instrumental later? Oh, that's a good question. I find myself writing songs just with the acoustic guitar or piano, and then I come into Logic and like, how do you start, right? That's a good question. So where I like to start is getting the actual progression down first, the kind of foundation of the song. I play keyboards a lot of the time, so for me, it's easier, I think, because then you don't have to actually record a guitar, and then it does take a little bit longer to quantize audio. With MIDI, you can just like go here and record the piano. So let's do that. Like, let's say I have a song like using a 1-3-5 progression. So let's say my song was like that, a 1-3-5, I think. So I would go here and then record the foundation of the song. And you should pick the tempo first. So ideally you like wrote a melody when you wrote the song, so you know the tempo, but you can be like, right now I kind of want it to be like da da da, so it's like 1 2 3 4, so it's maybe 110, 1 2 3 4, maybe 108, da da da, right, like that. Oh, messed that up. We're gonna do it again. 3 4. And then I'm not worried about performance right now. I would like just get skeletons of things and then throwing ideas out. So I like quickly quantize this, Command A to highlight everything, quantize by 1/16. I'm going to choose the last two it did. So I'm just going to right click, cut that. Now I have my, let's say, verse chord progression. And I can now make a beat over that to get a vibe going. So I'm just pressing Command R. It's gonna like roll it out for me. Maybe your song is the exact same chords. If not, like record another piece and work on the piece of the song where you want to start first. Sometimes people like to start producing the chorus right away. Some people like to start producing the intro right away. I like to start setting a beat. So I would maybe if I have a sample pack I really like, I would start with that. Or I could, if I don't know what the beat should be like, I would start with a drummer track. And this gives you ideas. This is what drummer tracks are really good for. So down here, I go to, well, I choose the drummer. So let's say songwriter pop. Let's go with Darcy. Then I go to producer kits. And then I usually choose the hi-fi pop because it's pretty thick. And then I find the groove. It's all going to be locked into tempo right now. And it didn't quantize properly, so I have to fix that. So you'd have to think if I'm going to want to find the chorus beat, I'd probably want it louder, maybe a bit more complex, and find the right kick and snare pattern. I would just start with the kick and snare. It's cool, right? Subby bass here. I would spend 5 minutes just throwing stuff at it just because it's fun, but also it gives you ideas. And that's how I start song. Okay, catching up here. How do you set multiple outputs from a VST like Easy Drummer? I'm not sure what Easy Drummer is. And you want to set outputs from a VST. Okay, well, where do you want to output it? Tough question because I need a little bit more context on that. I'm not sure what Easy Drummer is. And if you have a VST, like let's say a contact piano or something, do you want to, yeah. Maybe if you can just give me more context. Can we make a good banger without plugins and Logic? Yes, bangers. You can make the biggest banger in Logic without having any plugins. This is all free stuff, what I just did right now. I mean, we could make a banger right now today with all free stuff. Like you don't need the paid stuff. I'm telling you. I mean, I say that I have the paid stuff. Like I'm not gonna lie, I have the paid stuff too. But I think the important thing is only get the paid stuff when you find yourself limited. Because if you go right away and you got Logic and you're just gonna go out and buy the paid stuff, you're gonna I think you'll feel overwhelmed at first because already there's tons of free stuff, and then you might end up never figuring out the free stuff. I made a song yesterday that was mostly free plugins. Like I was using the this whole world section in the library, like all these woodwinds and little stringed instruments here, like this pipa. It sounds like a banjo. I made a country trap beat with this sound. Like there's these African kits is a full-on African drum set. Like incredible stuff here. Now my keys are gonna sound like, what's this gonna sound like? Ooh. Kind of weird, right? But definitely not gonna go with that. Okay, let's switch that back to piano. So, totally you can make bangers with free sounds. It's more about the dynamic and production, the vocal versus the sounds, I would say. How do you add loops in Logic? Okay. Depends what you mean. If you mean Apple loops on the side here, you can just go in. Let's say we want to add like a tambourine to our little loop here. Search tambourine. Here's a tambourine. So click that and drag it in. And it's just going to be auto in time because it's a Logic thing. Click that. Click Y to get rid of the library. Some space here. Now we have a tambourine. Go Command R to duplicate that. So again, there's tons of Apple loops here if you feel This happened last time too. Oh man. I really need to get this properly set up. This is super annoying. What happens is I have like the speakers end up just turning off when they're not used, and then it turns off, I think, the connection to OBS. Sorry, guys. So what I was saying is I don't understand Shubham yet because I'm not really sure if anyone else knows what he means, so that you can jump in and help him so I can understand the question. Because you were talking about like, if you record vocals and guitar, how do we fulfill? I'm not sure what you mean by fulfill, like fulfill the sound. Oh, okay. Easy drummer. Okay, thanks for that shared context SSD. Okay, so you can record out on 16 multiple audio channels. That's wicked. I think it would be something similar to like when I record, when I use native instruments. I don't do it with drums, but I'll show you what I do. So yeah, let's go. I mean, let's just start from scratch. So in the native instruments, like I'm wondering if you have something like this in your VST, because you should. You just set the multi-output right here. I mean, that's how I do it. So I'm not sure the other way to do it, unless it might be like in the settings of the plugin itself. So hope that helps, man. Sorry. You guys can hear me now though, right? Am I still behind on the chat? Okay, I'm back. Still catching up on the chat here. And Rajul, I don't know why I have to accept every single one of your comments. Like, it's taking a lot of time. Every time you comment, Rajul, and they're like fine comments, like I don't need to like review them or anything. It always says it's held for review, and you're the only one in the chat. Why is that happening? Chuck. Oh, that's awesome. Chuck. Yeah, Sophie, I'm still catching up in the chat here. I'm slow. You guys can hear me now, right? Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna scroll down to something new, but I don't want to miss any questions. Oh yeah. Can you fade MIDI notes without bouncing? You can do it with automation, but no, you can't fade, unfortunately. You gotta bounce to audio. Or, I mean, I don't think there's another way. Like this piano thing here. You know, we can't go to the region and do fade outs. Like, you probably tried that already. You can go to like automation and just do a volume fade out like that if you want. And if you have to fade something else in, like if this was here, you could, you know, do something. Actually, you'd have to put it on separate tracks, to be honest. And then this is just getting a bit cumbersome. So you have to fade like this volume in. Essentially, yeah, you just make your own crossfade, something like that. But I just bounced audio. Quick thing there is Control B, bounce, and then I have my fade tool usually here, so I just go like that and fade it. And you can delete that, move it up. Like, it's pretty quick once you know the shortcuts. Again, that was like it's just Control B. Oops, actually just opened up the loop browser. I guess the loop browser is, I can't see my keyboard because of the microphone's there. Control B, and then fade it with my tool command and fade. Or that's an aggressive fade, but you get what I mean. Okay, Burfin, if you write a song without an instrument, oh man, yeah. How can you find the right chords for it? That's a good question. I don't know. I've never done that. I've never written a song without having an instrument. I would suggest you just go and pick a standard chord progression. You could use this one, you know? It's not in time. This was the in time loop. And just use a standard chord progression. Look up on Google popular chord progressions. Find out how to play them on MIDI and then write your song around that. To give a bit of direction, if you wrote a sad song, choose something in the minor key. If you wrote more of a happy song, choose something in the major key. And start with that. If you don't find the right one first, try a new one. Yeah, I think Ridgewell, maybe I was muted, but I recommended you checking out Ableton or FL Studio as alternatives to Logic. The other ones can be a bit old in their design, like Cubase and Pro Tools are a bit more traditional. Oh man, how long was my mic shut off for? The total, like, so embarrassing. I'm just gonna keep an eye on this fader here then to make sure it doesn't come off again. But what I was saying, yeah, Sophie was on the piano. We have a Steinway Grand here, and it comes automatically with a Logic EQ. And what I was saying is just use this, and you can also roll off more of the low end, since we have a bass in this song. If you have a bass, you can take a bit more low end off. You can chop some of that signal off. And actually, this is a grand piano EQ. And then I would take a look at the other EQ presets down here. And what the other thing I was saying was a lot of the presence of the piano comes in those mids, like between 500 and 1,000, 2,000 there. The brightness of the piano will come through there. So if you want more brightness of the piano, you can do a boost here, somewhere in here. Okay, Shupan, I don't know what you mean by fulfilled, but if you can just find another word for what you're saying with fulfilled, then I'll understand your question. Because if you record vocals in the guitar, then how we overall sound fulfilled, I'm not sure what you mean by fulfilled. So just like Google like a synonym for what you're thinking about, and then ask the question, and I should understand it. Sorry, man, about the misunderstanding here. Litchi, Leaksy, can you provide personal music production lessons? Sometimes I do one-on-one lessons, not often, but I do like it sometimes. So feel free to reach out to me, send me an email. Maybe we can set something up. If you want some feedback on your songs, just send them to me. I don't get that many requests for songs, so I still have the time to do it if you want some feedback. I'll try to get around to it. Oh, SSD. Nice. Okay, you're coming from Ableton. Okay, yeah, that would be there's definitely a learning curve there, but you'll pick it up quite quickly because Ableton's still super solid. Logic, it's just the layout is quite different. But you'll get in a few days you'll be up and running. I have the latest version of Logic. Hello, you asked what kind of version of Logic I have. I have 10.6.1, which I believe is the latest version. And how do you find the right BPM for the song? So Burfin, if you wrote your song without any instruments and if you just wrote it, maybe you just wrote lyrics, try singing the lyrics or like any idea of a melody in your head, and that's going to give you an idea of the tempo. For example, it should put you in two big fields. One, it will be like noticeably like a fast song, and then or it will be a more slower mellow song. And then if it's on the faster side, you're likely anywhere above 100. And if it's on a slower side, you're likely anywhere below 100. So you could start, with 105, and if you find that too fast, you always just lower it down. Because we're in MIDI here, you can drop this, and this will change automatically. Super slow and moody. That's why I really like starting just with MIDI at the beginning of idea phases and stuff, because you can do stuff like this. And let's see what 130 sounds like if I recorded audio in there. Oops. If I recorded audio in there, I wouldn't be able to do this. So, totally different mood, right? Rejeweled. Yeah, I don't know. That's a total wild guess, man. I don't know. I'm glad I'm saying it right though. That makes me feel good. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, no worries, Sophie. Do you play the piano, Sophie? Not sure if I'm saying your name right, Sophie, but I'm kind of doing that like ZS combination there. Burfin, I've been producing music I think for like a year and a half or 2 years, like really, really dedicating time to it. I have been doing it maybe I guess for 5 years, but the first 3 years it was just like not really dedicating any time to it, a couple hours a month, something I like to do. Was just too busy with some other things at the time. And now that I've had a lot of focused time in the last 2 years, because of the pandemic, I've just gone super deep and learned a lot. Benga. Okay. Thanks for joining the channel or chat / Logic live stream Q&A. Anyone just joining, this is turned into a full awesome Q&A. Kind of just have a Logic session up here to answer people's questions, pop them in the chat, and we'll get through them. So Benga just asked, what are your advice for techniques to clean vocals? Home studio recording. What type of plugin do you use? Okay. The best thing to do for clean vocals would be, wow. Excuse me. Talking too much. I think I didn't talk at all today, and then I just went on the live stream. Sorry for that. It's don't have to wear a mask though, because everyone's in virtual, so you're not going to catch anything. Okay. Record in a reasonably dry space, which means like it's much better to record your vocal in a room than like in a church. So if you're in a room, much better. If you can go a step further, maybe like if there's glass around or bare walls, you could put up a blanket right behind the microphone. It was the first step, and then you could put some things around it. Honestly, though, you don't have to go so far. The best way to get clean vocals, doing the right. Make sure you're not peaking when you record vocals, so record them in at a good rate, like a solid green. -8 is good, I would say. And then I would just go processing. Like here's how I process like quick vocals. I usually EQ it right away. Something like this usually. It might look like that, something simple. And I would compress it. You can use the Logic compressors, super good. Like a vintage FET is good. Have that needle jumping around -5. Good rule of thumb. All super general rules of thumb here. Take them or leave it. DS. Dynamics. De-esser. You can use a preset. If you're a female, maybe just one of those presets. Then you can add reverb right on the channel if you want. Or you can bus reverb. You can use one of the stock buses here. Like a short hall, small hall. Add a bit of reverb. You can add pitch correction. Choose your key. Let's say we're in F sharp minor. 62, 72. That won't really sound like we have it on, but it will still correct things. Then, you could compress it again if you want. Using a different compressor, like another vintage one. And you could de-ess it again if you're going to compress it. Maybe you want to also add some delay. You maybe want to add a stereo delay. You probably want to drop the mix down 10 maybe on each side, so it's not super noticeable, especially if this is a lead vocal. You don't want too much delay, or else it won't be a lead vocal anymore. It will be in the background. Okay, it's your quick and dirty vocal chain there. Hope that gave some insight. How can you brighten up the sound of the guitar? I usually find like the 1,000 range to be the brightness of the guitar. You can try like just EQing something like that to see how it sounds like on the guitar. Or if you're talking about recording, then a really good mic will have a solid mic, and mic placement will really matter. And of course the guitar, or the strings, if the strings are dull, the guitar is going to sound dull. If the guitar isn't treated, it's going to sound bad. So new strings, good guitar, good mic, proper placement, proper recording room, proper recording at the right levels. If you have preamps and that kind of thing, that will help. And then you can EQ it to dial in on the brightness. Thanks, Burfin. I think, I still think I have lots to learn, as anything goes. If you want to try to become a pro or a master at anything, you have hours and hours to learn. I've put in a lot of time into Logic and music production, so. But it's honestly like it's anyone, anyone can be. I consider myself like intermediate. Like I'm the person, if you're gonna call yourself a pro, like you should be like winning awards. You should be like, people should know you. So I'm not a pro, but I do consider myself an intermediate, that I can make solid songs and make them sound radio ready and really good. And anyone can get to this position in within a year, 2 years, with many hours of work. Like a year, 8 hours a day, 6 days a week for a year. I think you could be like a super awesome producer. Tim, thanks for joining the channel. Tim Esselink, what would you recommend for someone who plays guitar and sings to produce his own music? Okay. If you have all the gear, I mean, I would. Personally, I'd like to produce the stuff, and then if it gets to a point where I'm just not keen on mixing it, I'll send it to a mixer and pay for the mix and pay for the master. But you can, if you have the gear and you're someone who plays guitar and sings, open up Logic, whatever, produce a song up in your mind to a point where you're like, yeah, I like the vibe and sound of this. Then maybe you can work with a more professional person who can take it to the next level. Maybe they help you reproduce some stuff or re-record things, or they have the right instruments and that kind of thing. So you can do like a halfway thing. That's what I did for a lot of my songs. XPath, you're back. You were like the first one. You're the first one that commented in this chat, and now you're back. This is Logic Pro 10, and I think it's just called Logic Pro now. No, you answered your own question. Chuck is using Logic Pro. That's right, Chuck. Anyone heard of Kaleidos? Kadalos? No, I haven't. This vocal setting work. Okay, thank you. Oh, Shawnee, you're very welcome. My pleasure. I hope gets you off on the right foot. You're welcome, Benga. So what are the main differences, benefits when using the FabFilter Pro EQ versus the stock EQ plugin from Logic? Is it that much easier? New possibilities. In short, they're the same. In not so short, they are different. So I'll just explain like the main differences. I wish you could have. Okay, wait. Yeah, we can open this one. Just get a Logic EQ and then a FabFilter. Why can't I have them open at the same time? Is that a serious thing that Logic is stopping me from doing? Can you have... Okay, whatever. Okay, I guess I can't have them open at the same time, which is crappy, but it's the interface that I like at FabFilter the most. I just like the colors, to be honest, and the shortcuts. I'm not too familiar with... I find it just slower in Logic. I can double click here and do things quite quickly. And also with command like this, I can kind of go like this, like sweep, go down, sweep. I just find it a little bit less flexible with a Logic one. And a big thing is the audition button, which is this little headphones thing, where if you click that button, then you're only going to hear the frequencies within this range. And that's super helpful because especially if you're beginning, because you're like, I don't know what 2,324 hertz sounds like. So you can click this headphone and it will show you only the sounds in there. And Logic doesn't have that at all. So super beneficial. And things like what I was mentioning earlier in the session here was like, oh yeah, you can, if you want to like dip out frequencies, let's say I want to cut these frequencies out, but only in the middle, I can do like mid side here and press M. And now these frequencies are going to be only cut out in the middle. And I'm not sure if Logic can do that. Ah, there you go, mid only. See, I haven't really experimented with the Logic one. This is kind of nice actually. I think it's really just preference thing. They're really the same in a way, but the audition thing is a big thing that the Logic thing doesn't have. Can you build up a drum beat without using the Logic Pro samples? Yeah. Right now? Okay. How would we do that quickly without the Logic Pro samples? All right, well, we'd have to open up like Splice or something. Oh man, just open up Spotify. I don't want Spotify, I want Splice. Oh, no, I got Splice. All right. Okay, so yeah, how we do that is I go new software instrument. I change this to the drum machine designer. Oh, just make sure. I'm scared that I'm going to go mute again. Okay, everyone can hear me. Got it. And this is going to load up just an empty kit here, but it's like busted out nicely for you. It's going to create a folder. So if you go and click on the DMD here, it's going to open this window, and then you can drag in your pads or your samples. So I have Splice here, and I have some samples already. So let's do a kick, and let's do a snare. And let's do a hat. Just clicking and dragging these in. And let's do, I don't know, maybe like a shaker. This won't take much longer. Smelt snare wrong. Snare. Make a snare pattern, please. Okay, so then I open up the step sequencer, pressing E. Make sure that I'm clicked on this track. Whoops. Click step sequencer, and then make a sweet pattern here. I'm in 130 again. I'm going to pop that down to 110. Get rid of mute my kit down there. You can make any pattern you want. Then add your hats in a pattern. This is just to get ideas. Maybe, well, let's try 16ths. Probably dip the velocities down a bit. It seems too much. Don't really like the shakers or the hats. make something a bit faster. And I would turn down the shakers. You get the idea. Then you go customize it. That's how I would do it. Do-do-do. Burfin, I actually didn't take any classes. Just made songs. That's my style of learning would be just to put it in practice with things I'd rather do to learn. I'm less of someone to take classes, so I didn't take any classes. Okay, so Bengo, can you explain what buses are made for and what are the differences or what are the benefits of using them? And you do not understand what the difference between adding an effect directly on the track versus a bus. Buses are really good because it will, one, make you more productive. So that already off the bat should be like the reason you use buses. The second thing, it's going to be easier on your computer because you won't have as many plugins on the tracks. And I think like there's got to be some more benefits, but those are the biggest ones I can think of, like right off the bat. And I'll think of more as we go through them. But so your question, yeah, it's kind of the benefits. And I mean, what is the difference? Okay, so the difference is, okay, let's say we have a vocal, right? And we can go and add reverb because we actually don't have any reverb on here. We just bust out the reverb, right? So we can go and add the reverb here. That's fine. And we can add a vocal reverb, okay? But the idea is you can also bust out the reverb too. And so what I mean by the productivity is inside your buses here, this section, you like producers that are super productive, like in my production template, I have a lot of these buses are pre-filled with stuff. So, and maybe I should just open that, but I'll just show you in practice. So templates are really productive to have. So this, I would click and I would have like a small verb. Let me just title it at the bottom here. I'd have big verb. I'd have, and these are going to come with every single project. Your quarter delay. I'd have eighth note delay. I have other things like pad effects and stuff. So you get the idea. Basically, now if I just remove all these sends, so if you have a track, you click the new software instrument track, you're producing, oh man, I really love this track. Oh, I need some delay on it. Okay, so the one way is like go here, delay, delay, stereo, boom, choose the delay, 1/4, That takes a lot of time, right? The other thing is just go bus, quarter delay, send it a bit, and you're done. Moving on. So that's the productivity of it, about it. Plus, there's no plugin on the channel. You only are using buses. So your computer is happy about that. Right. So the other thing to mention is bus outputs. So these are bus sends. The other thing you can do is send this channel entirely to a new bus. So you might do that. For example, in this drum kit, these tracks are being sent to this track. You can see in this kick, usually would say like stereo output there, right? But now what it's saying now is bus 4. And the snare is there, bus 4. The hats are there, bus 4. And the shakers are there, bus 4. So you can go to the drums, and then you can compress the drum track. And that's going to take your kick, snare, and hats and shaker and compress it and glue it together. And that's what compression is really, really good for, gluing things together. So you want to use compression, especially on your bus output tracks, to glue them together. How can we change the key of Logic presets? Key of Logic presets. I don't know what you mean by the key, man. If you want to save a preset, you can go save as and just save it to your Finder window. If you want to overwrite that, you just save it as the same name and it will overwrite it. Let me know if I answered that properly. For example, so for some reason, using the fade tool doesn't work for me. It might be because I don't have the command button on my keyboard. Yeah, totally. It could be because of that. Do you not have the command button on your keyboard? I'm using Logitech. Oh, I'm using Logitech keyboard. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I would say that's it. I think I can't think of any other reason, but that makes a lot of sense, Jesse. Yeah. No, I know the keyboard. Logitech keyboards. I used to have a Logitech keyboard too. Yeah, for sure. No way, Lixie, you're watching from a layover at the airport. Awesome. Yeah, going traveling is the best way. Is also sometimes the best way to make music because you're confined to what you have. Like I've been on the plane before too. Like open up musical typing, just my laptop, like headphones, and you got to figure things out, and you're limited. So it's in a way it's tough, but in a way to that is also easy because you have less decisions to make. When you're in the studio, it's like, wow, man, like keyboards and guitars and pianos, and it's overwhelming the amount of choice you have. When you're just on the airplane, got musical typing, Logic stock sounds. You don't have the internet unless you're on one of those cool planes that has internet. Then sometimes that's where the best ideas come out. Oh no, I feel a sneeze coming on. It's that feeling like right before. Oh no, it didn't come. Damn it. That's the worst feeling. One of the worst feelings is when your body takes away that sneeze for some reason. I don't know why it wouldn't just come out. Okay, next question. And guys, I think I'm going to take a couple more questions and I have to jet. So get the questions in there. We'll get through them. And again, back on Monday, I'm going to make a song, I think, from scratch on Monday. Are you guys into that idea? Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm waiting for my new MacBook to do that. The current MacBook I'm on is struggling a little bit with recording while doing OBS and live streaming and internet. Are you able to automate buses? Yes. That's another huge benefit. See, there's so many more benefits than what we know of or what I know of. Yes, you can automate buses. So that's super helpful. If you're like, let's just convert this to MIDI and separate by note pitch, and now we have all the tracks here. If I want the drums underwater for a bit, I can add a single band EQ here and just go to high cut, press A, open up the automation, have this track highlighted, go over to latch, like on this drop down here, change read to latch. Now I'm going to press space bar and just bring this frequency down. And I just created this little automation, and then you can click and make it cleaner if you want. If you can click and then drag, it's just gonna get rid of all those, so you can do proper, proper curve if you want. Change this to your automation curve tool and make that a nice little sexy curve there. And then the shakers, important to turn this back to read. When it's on latch, it's like means whenever your track is playing and you're doing something to the track, it's going to automatically program it in. So dangerous button to leave on. The hats weren't really being cut off, were they? Where are those hats coming from? Oh, it was the tambourine. Right. So, okay, here's the thing. So the tambourine is two ways. I can put the tambourine in here, and now it will be inside that bus. I can also go to the tambourine and change the output of the tambourine to bus number 4, and now that will be underwater. And maybe that's too aggressive of a start, so I would bump that up. Start of a verse or chorus or something. Okay. Yeah, get those questions in, guys. How do you save bus presets, Benga? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Save them as a template. That's what I would recommend. Because you can't, I don't know if you, what I do is like, I set up like a Logic session and I get all my buses that I would use in every single song. And then I go to the top here, File, Save as Template. And then I have like that as the starting point for, for every song. And that's how I save my buses. I think you can save buses like in another way. Huh. I'm actually not sure if you can. I'm trying to think where you would save it. Like, because the channel strip setting, like you can save channel strip settings. For example, like if we have like a vocal here. It's not going to add the buses to that. So I don't think you can save the buses in a session. You actually have to save them in templates. I'm pretty sure Windows is the same as the command key. Is there another way to use the tool? Good question. There might be a way in settings, Jesse. You can, if you go to key commands, I don't know. Just what happens if we just type command open? That's a good question. You might be able to like reprogram that, the command button. The other thing is you could just add the right click tool and get used to that. The right click tool can be added, or the right click tool. Yeah, right. Man, I think that's a sign to leave the live stream. Preferences, general editing, right mouse button. So add the right click tool At least so you'll have two tools, left click and right click. And then maybe do a Google search like reprogramming the command tool. I'm not really sure about that. Yeah, thanks SSD for joining in. Great questions. Good luck with the multi outputs on the VSTs. Thanks for the suggestion, John. A video on finding and organizing safe samples. Actually, John, what do you mean by safe samples? Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining in. Is the Logic Pro same as Logic Pro X? I just got a new Mac with M1 chip. Nice. Congrats on the new Mac. It's always sweet to get a new computer. Yeah, I think Apple just changed the name to Logic Pro. Someone actually told me that in the last live stream. I didn't know about it either, but I think they're just going through rebranding, and it's probably because they're running out of 10, like the number 10 versions. Soon they'll have to be on 11, I think. So I think it's just Logic Pro straight up now. Awesome. Yeah. You're welcome, Benga, and you're welcome, Jesse. Guys, thanks for joining in on the live stream. I'm going to have a production template available for free soon, so you can download it and use those for your projects. So subscribe to the channel and stick around for that. Yeah, let's catch you in the next live stream or in one of my recorded versions. Okay, have a good weekend, guys.